If you ask Raiders fans who the most talented player in franchise history was, you'll hear names like Bo Jackson, Tim Brown, Ken Stabler, Charles Woodson. But if you ask older fans who saw him at his peak, there's one name that keeps coming up. Marcus Allen. Smooth, explosive, unbelievably intelligent. A running back who didn't just rush the ball. He orchestrated chaos. And here's the twist. Marcus Allen did win a Super Bowl early in his career. He was even the Super Bowl MVP in 1983. But the version of Marcus Allen that could have built a dynasty, the version at his physical and mental peak, that version never won again. And it wasn't because he lacked talent. It wasn't because he declined early. It wasn't because defenses figured him out. It was because of something far more complicated. This is why the most talented Raider never built the championship legacy he deserved. Marcus Allen entered the NFL in 1982 as the 10th overall pick. He wasn't just a Heisman Trophy winner from USC. He was one of the most complete running back prospects ever. Vision, patience, acceleration, receiving ability, football IQ. He wasn't just fast, he was surgical. He saw creases before they formed. He understood leverage. He manipulated linebackers with body language. In his rookie season, he rushed for 697 yards in a strike-shortened year. But in 1983, he exploded. The Raiders went 12-4. Marcus Allen rushed for 1,014 yards, caught 68 passes, scored 12 total touchdowns. But the defining moment came in Super Bowl Day against Washington. Third quarter, Raiders leading 14-3. Marcus Allen takes the handoff, runs right. Nothing there. Washington defense collapses. Most running backs would be swallowed. Allen reverses field, cuts back across the grain, accelerates through a crease that barely existed. 74-yard touchdown, one of the greatest runs in Super Bowl history. That wasn't just athleticism, that was instinct. The Raiders won 38-9. Marcus Allen was Super Bowl MVP. At 22 years old, it felt like the beginning of a dynasty. But that moment, that peak, that celebration, was the beginning of something else. Because in the Raiders organization, one man mattered above all others. Al Davis. Owner, architect, visionary, and sometimes adversary. In the mid-1980s, Marcus Allen was becoming the face of the franchise. Charismatic, marketable, media-friendly. He was smooth off the field, sharp with reporters, popular nationally. And here's where tension began. Because Al Davis didn't like sharing the spotlight. He built the Raiders. He controlled the narrative. And suddenly, Marcus Allen wasn't just a star. He was bigger than the Shield. By 1985, Allen rushed for 1,759 yards and won league MVP. He was at his absolute physical peak. And that season should have cemented the Raiders as long-term contenders. But cracks were forming internally. Reports of friction, disagreements over contracts, disputes over role and control. Al Davis was known for loyalty, but he was also known for pride. And when pride clashes with talent, talent doesn't always win. Then came the unthinkable. In 1987, the Raiders drafted Bo Jackson, the most gifted pure athlete of the era. And suddenly, the backfield wasn't built around Marcus Allen anymore. Now, in fairness, Bo was extraordinary, but this wasn't just a football decision. It was political. Because instead of maximizing Marcus Allen's prime, the Raiders began minimizing it. Allen's carries dropped. His role shifted. Public tension escalated. And behind the scenes, the relationship between Al Davis and Marcus Allen deteriorated. There are reports from that era that Al Davis openly criticized Allen, that he questioned his toughness, his loyalty, even his character. And once Al Davis turned against a player, there was no repairing it. Marcus Allen went from franchise cornerstone to controlled asset. And when your own organization limits you, championship windows close. Think about this. From 1986 to 1992, Marcus Allen was still in his athletic prime. He was still explosive, still intelligent, still capable of dominating games. But his role shrank. Bo Jackson split carries. Then injuries reshaped the offense. And instead of building entirely around Allen's versatility, the Raiders splintered. Marcus Allen eventually left the Raiders in 1993. And here's what makes the story even more painful. He signed with the Kansas City Chiefs, a division rival, and immediately revived his career. In his first season with Kansas City, he rushed for 764 yards and scored 12 touchdowns. He wasn't washed. He wasn't declining. He was misused. And that's the part that stings. Because while the Raiders drifted through mediocrity, Allen thrived elsewhere. He would eventually score 145 career touchdowns, retire as one of the greatest running backs in NFL history, enter the Hall of Fame. But Raiders fans can't help but wonder, what if the feud never happened? What if Al Davis and Marcus Allen aligned instead of clashed? What if his 1985 MVP season had been the launching point for multiple championship runs? Because talent wasn't the issue. Allen could run between the tackles, catch passes, block, read defenses like a quarterback. He wasn't one-dimensional, he was complete, and complete backs are rare. He could have been the centerpiece of a sustained dynasty. Instead, he became the centerpiece of a power struggle. And that's the uncomfortable truth. Marcus Allen didn't lose championships because he lacked ability. He lost opportunities because of ego, because of politics, because of a fractured relationship that never healed. He won one Super Bowl early, yes, but the Marcus Allen at his absolute peak, the league MVP version, that version never lifted another Lombardi trophy. Not because he couldn't, but because the organization couldn't align. And that's what makes him arguably the most talented Raider who never built the championship legacy his ability demanded. Because sometimes greatness isn't defeated by opponents. Sometimes it's defeated from within. By the late 1980s, the fracture between Marcus Allen and Al Davis wasn't rumor anymore. It was visible. Allen's carries decreased. His public praise from ownership disappeared, and whispers inside the locker room grew louder. This wasn't about performance, because even in limited touches, Marcus Allen was efficient, smart, productive. This was about power. Al Davis built the Raiders into a rebellious empire. He valued loyalty, he valued control, and most importantly, he valued being the face of the franchise. Marcus Allen was charismatic, polished, nationally marketable. He handled interviews smoothly. He wasn't controversial. He was corporate-friendly in a way the Raiders rarely were. And in some strange way, that clashed with the Raiders' image. Because the Raiders weren't polished, they were gritty, edgy, unpredictable. Allen didn't fit the chaos. He represented professionalism. Then came Bo Jackson. When the Raiders drafted Bo in 1987, it was electric. Bo was mythic, physically overwhelming, explosive. But here's the critical detail. The Raiders didn't draft Bo because Marcus Allen failed. They drafted Bo while Allen was still elite. Instead of reinforcing Allen's strengths, the organization split the spotlight, split the carries, split the identity, and that split mattered. Bo Jackson's presence changed everything. Fans were mesmerized. Nike campaigns exploded. Bo Knows became a cultural phenomenon, and slowly, Marcus Allen's role diminished. Even when Bo missed games due to baseball commitments, Allen's workload didn't fully rebound. There was tension, visible, documented. Allen later said publicly that Al Davis had turned against him, that Davis questioned his toughness, that Davis felt betrayed during contract disputes. When that relationship fractured, Allen's future in Oakland became unstable. Here's the painful part. From 1986 to 1992, Marcus Allen was still physically capable of being the focal point of a championship offense. He wasn't declining, he wasn't injury-riddled, he wasn't ineffective, he was politically cornered. And that's rare. Most players lose prime years to injury. Allen lost prime years to ego conflict. There were games where Allen barely touched the ball. Moments where Raiders fans questioned why their most complete weapon wasn't featured. Reporters noticed, teammates noticed, the league noticed. But inside that organization, Al Davis held ultimate authority. And once Davis made up his mind about a player, there was no reversing it. In 1993, the inevitable happened. Marcus Allen left Oakland, signed with the Kansas City Chiefs, a division rival, and almost immediately he became relevant again. 12 rushing touchdowns in his first season in Kansas City. Revived, focused, still explosive in the red zone, still intelligent, still efficient. If Allen had truly declined, that revival wouldn't have happened. But it did, which makes the Raiders' years feel even more frustrating. Imagine the alternate timeline. No feud, no public tension, no split spotlight politics. Marcus Allen remains centerpiece of the Raiders' offense through the late 80s. Bo Jackson complements rather than competes. The Raiders build continuity instead of division. Could that have produced another Super Bowl? Given Allen's 1985 MVP season, given his Super Bowl EGE performance, it's not unrealistic. It's probable. Because Marcus Allen wasn't just talented, he was adaptable. He could run power. He could catch 60-plus passes. He could block. He understood defensive fronts like a veteran quarterback. He rarely made mental mistakes. That kind of versatility is what dynasties are built around. And instead of maximizing that versatility, the Raiders diluted it. Al Davis later denied personal vendettas. But even Allen himself acknowledged that the relationship had fractured deeply. He once described feeling like the organization was against him. And when a player feels that inside his own building, peak performance becomes harder to sustain. Not physically, emotionally, mentally. Marcus Allen retired with 12,243 total yards from scrimmage, 145 total touchdowns. One of the most balanced resumes in running back history. And yet, Raiders fans still debate what could have been, because his peak never aligned fully with team stability. Here's the irony. Marcus Allen did win a Super Bowl. He did win MVP. He did make the Hall of Fame. But the version of Marcus Allen at his absolute physical apex, the 1985 league MVP, that version never got a stable, unified organization behind him long enough to dominate championships. He got one ring, but he had the talent for more, and that's the distinction. Compare him to backs like Emmitt Smith. Emmitt had alignment, coaching stability, front office cohesion, team-building consistency. Allen had talent equal to many all-time greats, but his ecosystem fractured at the worst possible time, and football punishes instability. Years later, Marcus Allen and Al Davis reconciled publicly. Time softened the tension. Respect resurfaced, but reconciliation doesn't restore lost seasons. It doesn't return missed playoff opportunities. It doesn't rewrite championship history. When fans debate the greatest Raiders ever, Allen's name always enters the conversation. But so does the caveat, what if? What if the feud never escalated? What if the offense remained built around him? What if ego never disrupted talent? That's why Marcus Allen remains one of the most talented Raiders who never built the championship legacy his ability deserved. Not because he failed, not because he declined, but because organizational politics shortened his peak window. And in the NFL, peak windows are everything. Some players are stopped by defenders, some by injuries, some by time. Marcus Allen was slowed by something rarer, internal conflict. And that's why his story feels unfinished. Because when you watch that 74-yard Super Bowl run, when you watch his 1985 MVP season highlights, when you see the patience, the vision, the intelligence, you realize something. He wasn't just great, he was dynasty-level great. But dynasty requires alignment, and alignment never lasted long enough. So yes, Marcus Allen won a Super Bowl. But the most talented version of him, the MVP in his absolute prime, that Raider never got the championship era he was built for. And that's why his story remains one of the greatest, what could have been chapters in Raiders history.